You know, folks, I have followed every election since I was a kid, and this is the first one in my lifetime where going into it, we're seeing one side say that they will not accept the election results if they were to lose. And that's a dangerous place to be as a country because that's not how it's supposed to be at all, and we cannot continue to normalize people acting this way. You know, when two candidates go out on the campaign trail, it's expected to get heated, and we expect it to get ugly at times. We expect them to go out there and bring their issues to the table and duke it out, and one side will try to one up the other, and the other side comes back, and it will be really close, and it'll be a really tight race. But when it comes down to election day and the American people cast their vote, then once it's over with, one person wins, one person loses. One person steps forward, gives a victory speech, the other person concedes, and usually will congratulate the winner on a good race and say, we'll work together for the better of the country. That's how it's always been until this year. And you got people out there saying no, they won't accept it if their side loses, or you got people like Tim Scott here just dodging the question altogether.
Well, Senator, will you commit to accepting the election results of 2024? Bottom line.
Well, at the end of the day, the 47th president of the United States will be President Donald Trump, and I'm excited to get back to low inflation, low unemployment.
Wait, Senator, yes or no? Yes or no? Will you accept the election results of 2024 no matter who wins?
That is my statement.
But is it just yes or no? Will you accept the election results of 2024?
I look forward to President Trump being the 47th president. Kristen, you could ask him multiple times.
Senator, just a yes or no answer.
So the American people will make the decision.
But I don't hear you committing
for President Trump. That's clear.
I don't hear you committing to the election results.
Here's the challenge.
Will you commit to accepting the election results?
This is why so many Americans believe that NBC is an extension of the Democrat Party. At the end of the day, I've said what I've said, and I know that the American people, their voices will be heard, and I believe that President Trump will be our next president. It's that simple.
Well, if there ever was a clip of someone doing a Dollar General impression of Donald Trump, that was it. I mean, it was a simple yes or no question. All you had to do was say yes or no, but you can see him shaking his head. He's deer in headlights. He does not want to answer the question yes or no, because if he says yes, he's stepping out of line with Donald Trump. He has to do his Trump act, and he has to say exactly what it is that Donald Trump is out there saying, and Donald Trump's saying he won't accept it, so he can't say yes or no. He tries to dodge the question, and then he pulls a classic Trump move, which is blame the media. Oh, that's why everybody thinks your network is part of the Democrat Party. Why? For asking you a yes or no question? That question was not about Republican versus Democrat. That question was not about conservative versus liberal. It wasn't about atheist versus Christian. It was none of those things. It was something that no matter where you fall on the political spectrum, you should have an answer for, and the answer should be yes, that you will accept the results of an election. Now, everybody out there is entitled to recounts. I mean, presidents have done that before. Hey, let's have a recount here. Let's look at this again. There's nothing wrong with asking questions, but when you bring the evidence to the table over and over and over again, over 60 times, court says you don't have anything, then it's time to pack it up and go home, and you have to accept the results. And he can't say that. And when it comes to the peaceful transfer of power, that's not about liberal versus conservative either. But Tim Scott can't answer it, and he just continues to double down. Take a look at this.
But, Senators, the hallmark of our democracy is that both candidates agree to a peaceful transfer of power. So I'm asking you, as a potential VP nominee, will you accept to commit to the election results in this election cycle, no matter who wins? Just simply yes or no.
I expect President Trump to win the next election. Listen, I'm not going to answer your hypothetical question when, in fact, I believe the American people are speaking today on the results of the election. And if it continues for the next 6 months, we find ourselves in a great position where we get back to another century of American prosperity. Yes. I'm looking forward to that.
All right, let me ask you.
I'm not going to make it an issue.
Well, Senator, will you commit to...
That was not a hypothetical question. And it's ridiculous that a United States senator would accuse her of asking a hypothetical question. And there are people out there who it will go right over their heads. And they'll be like, yeah, man, she just don't ask him a bunch of hypothetical questions. He can't answer that. That's not what it was at all. A hypothetical question would be, How do you think Mike Tyson would have fared during the Muhammad Ali era? Could Tyson have beat Ali? How would he have did against Frazier or Foreman in their prime? Those are hypothetical questions, not will you support the peaceful transfer of power? That's a simple yes or no question. That's a question that everyone should answer with a resounding yes. That's what we're all supposed to be for. But he sits there and doubles down and says, well, I'm listening to the American people now, and the American people, they want Trump. I'm listening to them. No, dude, you're in an echo chamber. And you're listening to Donald Trump preach to the choir, and you're not stepping out of your bubble and looking around at the rest of the world who thinks you're a joke. That's what's actually happening here. But when you see a person dodging the question like this, it makes you ask questions. It's like, okay, are they that arrogant and smug that they think they could never lose? I mean, do they think their ideas are so great that everybody loves them and no one out there would ever go against it? Or are they planning to do something to rig it? I mean, we've talked about Project 2025. I mean, is that where they're headed with it? And they're just going ahead and saying it? Or are they just pledging their undying loyalty to Donald Trump? That's his shtick. And as long as he's saying it, they're going to repeat it. I think it's probably all of those things combined. I think they are arrogant and they are smug and they are in an echo chamber thinking that their ideas are the only ones that matter and that's the only ones the American people want. And he keeps saying, well, the American people are going to decide. Well, guess what, Tim Scott? I'm one of the American people too, and I won't be voting for Donald Trump. And I have a pretty large platform here, and I guarantee you they're not going to be voting for Donald Trump either. So there's that many. You're going to sit and tell me that all the American people wants everything Donald Trump says. By the way, where are Donald Trump's ideas right now? Has anybody heard a new one from him? Has anybody heard a new one from anyone on the right? They have the least productive Congress since the Great Depression. Has anyone saw anything happen? Has anyone saw a new idea? Is there one thing they can run on except their loyalty to Donald Trump? No, there's not. So that's what this election has come down to. People are going to go out there, they're going to repeat after their leader, and he's going to keep saying the election is going to be rigged, only if he loses. Only if he loses. If he wins, it was the fairest, greatest election of all time. The American people have spoken. That's not how it works. It never has been how it works, and it never will be. And folks, at the end of the day, we just cannot normalize this. I know I say that a lot, but this isn't about left versus right. The peaceful transfer of power, our democracy, it's not what they think it is. We have to get back to people being reasonable and saying, hey, we lost this one. We'll be back next time with some better ideas.